Hello there, my little fluffers. It's Adam, as always. What I've got here for you is something a bit different. It appears that way back in about 2017 or so, we recorded a episode to go up on Patreon, which never went up. Ever. It's called Andy Gets Rid of Your Giant Crabs. So I've decided I'm going to clean it up a little bit, and I'm going to stick it out here as a normal Fluffenhammer episode, just because it was a shame that it never actually came out. It's from the early days of the Fluffenhammer, so it may seem a little out of touch, and it may seem a little weird and a little not quite in place with things now, 7 years later. But I thought it was an interesting little look back at where we started. So, with no further ado, I give you Andy Gets Rid of Your Giant Crabs. Take it away. Shall we, George, just smash forward with some questions?
Oh, that sounds great.
Because
I'm well up for that.
Friend of the podcast and man that we thank everything for, Andy Millman.
Oh, praise the Millman.
Praise the Millman.
Praise the Millman. What are you thankful to Millman for
I think
at the moment?
This week I'm thankful for Millman for just being Andy Millman.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm thankful to Andy Millman this week because it's a sort of festival. It's rolled round recently, as you may have noticed on my Facebook. I am thankful to Mr. Millman for fighting the crabs.
Yes, I have seen that.
I am very thankful.
Always,
to Mr. Millman.
Always thank Andy Millman for fighting crabs.
For they are arseholes.
Yes, they are arseholes, and Andy will get rid of the crabs.
He will.
No matter how bad the infestation is, he will get rid of your crabs.
They're quite big as well. I mean, they're feisty crabs, these ones.
Andy Millman will fight off feisty crabs.
He will. That should be the title of the episode.
Yep, it is. Andy Millman will fight feisty crabs. Oh, God. Right, so Andy asks, what aspects of the new games, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, 40k, etc., do you think could be improved?
Oh, interesting. They're very good. The games themselves are very good. They've done a great job trying to create these very quick, very pithy games, which I like enormously. I wouldn't say improve even, but for me, maybe it's just what they will inevitably do, which is I'm looking forward to seeing the new expansions and, how they make them different, how they introduce new narrative elements to them, as they have been doing,
Yeah, I think it's actually quite interesting, because if you go back over the years, we say, what do we want to improve in Age of Sigmar? We want to get a bit more diversity, we want to get a bit more of the ground level, we want to get a bit more how the different realms work, and all that stuff has rolled out.
It's happened.
Yeah, mechanics-wise. I think different layers in Age of Sigmar would work, ranging from how the skirmish games work right the way through to apocalypse-style
battles. Battles, yeah. It's difficult to say, isn't it? For me, it's always going to be on the narrative side, because I'm a narrative player, but they've introduced the option for that now, the way they've split the game up. So, the more role-playing elements they can introduce, the better for me. What I would like to see is more in the way of, as we were talking about in the main show, things like big bits of scenery and, more cities and more in the way of the cultures of the realms in the game system.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'm kind of happy with it as it is right now.
Yeah. I think the only real thing I'd want to see now is just a bit more breaking down the battle tomes when it comes to army lists.
Yeah,
making a bit more of a themes that run through,
as you get in the codices in 40k.
Yeah.
So where you can actually really go to town customizing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I mean, they also need to do things like there are certain armies that are still sort of flailing out there.
The Seraphon.
They're like the slaves to darkness. They're still sort of like bits and pieces, and they're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So they could do a bit more work cohering them into a proper battle tome.
I can see that.
But that is happening, isn't it? Insofar as I understand, that is actually happening. There is going to be the return of Archaon later this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know. So beyond that, I'm all right. I'm okay with it right now. I am legitimately all right with the gaming systems as they currently are.
I think for Necromunda, just because Andy mentioned it, the only the reason I think that I didn't go cold on Necromunda. That's the wrong way of putting it. But I really found myself missing the scenery.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great board game. It's a wonderful board game, and you can get rules for using scenery. But I found myself missing the old Necromunda scenery. There was something about the character of that old version of the Underhive that really sang to me.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean.
Is probably where I would improve. And for
regarding, sorry, no, go on.
And for 40k, well. 40k are doing it now with that new Space Marine book.
They're doing it, aren't they? I mean, it's like, for something like Kill Team, one of the things they could maybe do is try to move it away from being 40k light.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Warcry level of warbands turning up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just make it make it its own thing a little bit more, because it is kind of, at the moment, it's the introduction game, it's the gateway drug, isn't it?
It isn't. It is price wise, but the rule sets for Kill Team are a bit not haphazard, but they're a bit more intense, I think is the word I would use, because it's a skirmish game, so it has to be. But I think if I was going to change how Kill Team worked, it would be releasing stuff like Shadespire packs, where you didn't just get redone versions of existing miniatures, you'd get Kill Team miniatures. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that would probably be where I change it, in the way that Warcry's doing.
In the way that Warcry's got its own stuff. Yeah, because they could use that to diversify, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Like, massively diversify these armies. Yeah, it's a great idea. I like that.
He also asks, and I feel this is going to be a big topic, if you could nudge for a new game, what would it be setting, who would make it, and what kind of game would it be? So which one of my 42 answers do you want? Because I've got tons.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would like to see more dedicated RPG systems from Games Workshop.
Yeah.
I really would. I think that one of the areas where they are maybe missing a trick at the moment is taking advantage of the enormous revolution in tabletop RPGs that's currently occurring.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, these things are ridiculous. There are entire stage shows of Dungeons and Dragons out there that sell out auditoriums, you know?
Yeah.
It's huge. And they could be doing that. They could be using Warhammer TV to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I wish they'd do stuff like a bit more like Fantasy Flight was doing when it had the license. So these really unusual niche games like Inquisitor and like Black Crusade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a 40k RPG incoming. There's the Age of Sigmar one incoming. Cubicle 7 so far have... The stuff that they've pulled out for the 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is astonishingly good. I've really enjoyed everything. You know, I've enjoyed everything because I've got everything.
Yes, because you've got everything.
I've bought it all. I've even gone crazy and got all the free stuff that they've got on the site. And anything that has free stuff on a site is good for me.
Yes.
What I would like to see is maybe something taken out of like the Pathfinder. Do you know much about Pathfinder?
I know about Pathfinder, yes.
Pathfinder's a really good system.
It's a fabulous... It's always been like the slightly better D&D system.
Totally, because it takes everything that worked in D&D and then fixed it. And second edition Pathfinder's coming out. I think it might actually be out now. I think it came out at Gen Con.
Interesting.
And I follow the Glass Cannon network, and they have been playtesting second edition brilliantly. With one of the greatest characters I've ever heard, Orphan Puncher. Orphan Puncher is the best character that's ever existed, ever. Because the first thing he asks is, how old were you when your parents died? If you were under the age of 21, you're getting punched. It's Orphan Punch is amazing. But the sheer amount of mutability that's in Pathfinder and the adventure paths, my God, the adventure paths.
It's very expansive, isn't it?
It is.
It's very expansive. But yeah, more like that is what I would like to see. I mean, they are missing a trick not doing it. They really are. There should at this point be like whole reams of dedicated adventure books in the AOS realms and whatnot. I mean, I understand why they've got they're doing so much and they've got limited amounts of time and a very hectic release schedule, but they could really be milking this for all it's worth.
Yes, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think Cubicle 7 are doing a great job, not to take away from them, but I agree that they could do with getting more of a presence.
Yeah. Because it's tailor-made. I mean, if they really put effort into it, this could challenge D&D. This could be a contender in RPG circles. It really could. Because the settings are great. The settings are absolutely brilliant, and people want to roleplay in them.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the reason why I wanted to do an actual play podcast. For a multitude of reasons. One, because I love RPG. I love it. It's one of my...
It's great fun. It is in terms of playing the games, RPG is my favourite.
Yeah, because it allows me to stretch a lot of the creative muscles that...
It's storytelling.
Yeah, it's what I love doing, and it's you've got to constantly responding to things that people do, and I love doing it. It's one of my favourite things. But also, I think that there are legs in taking, like, 4th Ed and doing, like, trying to get stuff like live shows done with it.
Totally.
I think there's a lot of fun that you can go with that. Not to say that that's exactly what my plans are, maybe, but we'll see how it goes. But outside of that, I want to see the old style specialist games come back. I've been doing a lot of research recently for the games that Games Workshop did, and they got sold through Woolworths. Space Fleet, Mighty Warriors, that type of thing. I would love to see stuff like that turn up again. Which I suppose it kind of has. There's the cut down version of Shadespire that's getting released through normal retail shops.
I mean, they're heading that way, aren't they? They're certainly heading that way. So it's kind of, maybe watch this space. Who knows? Yeah,
definitely. Moving on, Lee Trailer. I do apologise, Lee. Bad Adam. Lee Trailer asks, what do you know about Old Hammer and Middle Hammer, and what are your own thoughts?
No idea. I can guess at what they are.
Well, Middle Hammer is roughly where the Bretonians came in. The Bretonians and Lizardmen. That's what gets classified as Middle Hammer.
Middle Hammer, I like that. That's kind of cute.
And Old Hammer is obviously 1st, 2nd, and 3rd editions.
Way back when.
Yeah.
They're historical curios. They're fun. They're interesting, and like. Would I go out and play a game of First Ed? No. Not a chance. Because it would take all day, and it's very confusing and very clunky and very old hat these days. But they are fun. I mean, they're interesting to know about and to research more than anything.
Yeah. I've got a love of this stuff, because this is the stuff, not as much 1st edition, but definitely 2nd and 3rd. They're the stuff that I used to mess around with my cousins when I was younger. They're the miniatures that they had, and then 3rd edition with its... Was it 4th edition? Hang on, let me try and... The High Elves and the Goblins.
Yeah. Now, that, I think, is where I came in. Just at the tail end of that.
I mean, that's where my most gaming really happened back in the day.
I remember the articles in White Dwarf about soaring miniatures, with your hacksaw and whatnot and all of that stuff. Remember that very well.
Yep. Oh God, those are the days. Is it worth, do you think, talking about episode 50? Because it's a nice little lead into what we've got planned for episode 50.
I suppose it will, yeah. So basically what we're actually going to go and have a look at Warhammer Fantasy Battle 1st edition.
Yeah, so what we're thinking, either every 50 episodes or every 25 episodes going forth, haven't really worked that one out yet, we're going to look through an old version of a game.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Looking at, not so much the rule sets, but
no, but like how things work.
Yeah, just the feel of it, the smell of it.
Was, what the ethos was, I suppose.
Yeah. So I've managed to source the first edition, and I don't know if you had a read through it yet, but
I haven't had chance yet.
Oh, crikey, it's going to be interesting to talk about.
If it's any, I've got the ROC books, and they kind of refer to it, don't they, quite a lot?
Yeah.
And it's very loose, isn't it? It's very, very loose in terms of interpretation. There's a lot you can do where it's sort of like shoulder shrugging, and the game sort of goes like, well, just decide. It's just roll a dice and decide.
Yeah, there's a reason why a Rogue Trader had a games master.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's incoming from RPG systems, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, good lord, yes. That's very much taken the what was happening in Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu at the time.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot there. I think when you talk about Oldhammer, it means different things to different people.
Yeah, it probably does, because it depends on where you came in, doesn't it?
It does.
As to what constitutes Oldhammer.
Yeah.
It also depends on what you mean by what do you think about it. I have a problem with sort of fan cultures that won't let it go.
Yeah.
I do. That won't let it go, that like the first editions or the early editions that people originally fell in love with are still very special, but are simply not the best versions of them. They're often just not. Sometimes they are. Most instances they're not. But there do seem to be certain fan contingents that can't get over that, that see everything through the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia. And I do have issues with that. But regarding them as historical curios, I totally get that.
One of the things I really enjoy about the Oldhammer community is it's not as much a rose-tinted nostalgia, it was better back in the day. It's more a love of the style and the sculpts and the writing of the time. It's as you say, it's a museum piece.
Which is fun. I kind of
reconnecting to it in a way that isn't the in my day everything was better.
Everything was so much better, yeah, when it evidently wasn't.
Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy from a lot of the Oldhammer stuff that I pay attention to, because I'm attached to a lot of Oldhammer groups, because I'm an old man, is people who go out their way to try to recreate painting styles of the time.
Oh, so the green bases and the red era.
Yeah,
and all of that stuff.
Yeah, trying to source paints that would work the same way, and
wow.
In a lot of cases trying to mix your own paints or using the old enamels of the time.
That's kind of cute.
It is. It's really fun.
I kind of like that, and it does. I imagine it does result in some very distinct and characterful, miniatures.
Oh, massively so. And I think it's really cool being able to look at that stuff and sort of use it as a launching pad for new ideas and new projects, rather than just going nostalgia.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Oh, absolutely.
I really, really want to get to Bring Your Own Lead one year. I think Boyle looks fantastic. It looks like such a fun weekend. And of course,
Bring Your Own Lead.
Bring Your Own Lead. And this year they had actually John Blanche, and I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who wrote Mordheim, there this year.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that's something I really wanted to try and get.
So, John Blanche is sort of like Oldhammer made incarnate, isn't he?
Well, he is. He is everything that Oldhammer was, because he was the guy who basically was there.
Designed it,
creating
basically,
it
like the look of it.
Yeah, definitely. Christopher Carlson asks, do you think there is a psychological need in people to mix the sweet and sour? What I mean by this is that there are lots of cute and silly fan art of 40k, like the Prime Access ponies and such.
Yeah.
On the other hand of the coin, there are loads of My Little Pony and Pokemon and other more kiddie franchise that works as grimdark and creepy. I don't mind this. I actually enjoy it if it's well made. It's just something I noticed and wanted to talk about.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it does happen quite a lot, actually. You do get sort of silly anime versions of Fulgrim and stuff like that. Yeah, there's the whole thing about Doom Rider.
Yeah,
obviously, probably one of the most iconic. There's Doom Rider. I see what you mean. There does seem to be this tendency. I think it's just the tendency to satirize, isn't it?
That's all. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
by its very nature, if you take something as ridiculously grimdark as the 40k universe or as AOS, and then you turn it into something lighter, it immediately acts as a kind of satire on itself.
I agree there. I'm just thinking there, actually, I actually did something earlier this week. I sent you that Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes, that's a very good example, actually.
And those Garfield ones as well.
Oh, the Garfield thing.
Yeah.
That is everywhere.
It is.
It's everywhere. That is a really dedicated subculture. If you look on YouTube, there are these animations of like these little cartoons that people have done of Lovecraftian Garfield and whatnot. Yeah, I think what people are doing is taking familiar imagery and expressing new concerns with them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they're doing. And it works. It does tend to work, especially when they're taking something that's, say, cute and light and transfiguring it into something slightly darker. That seems to work very well. The contrast really, really works.
Well, I think it works well with something like Garfield, is that it still kind of stays within the boundaries of what existed beforehand. It just adds this new layer on top.
That's it. They're not introducing stuff that isn't there to begin with.
Yeah.
What they're taking is the subtext. They're taking the subtext and emphasizing it. They're bringing it out to the surface. It's very clever. I mean, it's something that's well established in literature. I mean, there are lots of writers that do it with fairy tales and things like that. So they look at fairy tales and then they put postmodern spins on them. So they bring out like the sublimated sexuality or the violence or the misogyny of them, and then create new stories out of them. Angela Carter does it all the time.
Yeah. I've just been reminded there, it doesn't really tie into the question, but it kind of does. Do you remember Garfield minus Garfield? Did you ever read them?
No, never came across that.
So it's a strip, and it actually got, I can't remember the guy's name now, the guy who drew and wrote Garfield. It actually got his blessing. It's the Garfield newspaper strips, but Garfield's been removed.
Okay, so it's what's it suggesting? That John is on his own?
It's John having an existential nightmare.
Okay.
It's just John slowly losing the fight against life.
Okay, that's slightly weird.
But they haven't changed anything. They've just taken Garfield out. So it's all the stuff that John's saying still there, but it works really well because all he ever does is answer his own thoughts and his own questions.
Oh, that's creepy.
Go look at Garfield minus Garfield. It's glorious.
That's slightly creepy, and I like it a lot.
I loved it. I became obsessed with it back in the day.
But it is interesting because the other way around is how it tends to happen to like 40k. So you've got like the established characters being cutesified or being eroticized or whatever, and I think it expresses lots of different things. Like for some people, it's just that's what their art style is.
Yeah,
and that's the only way they can record them. So that's what they do, you know. And so sometimes it's just an experiment. So they're taking something so grimdark and turning it into something silly and something comedic and fun, you know?
I will say I love chibi Gene Stealers.
Chibi Gene Stealers,
Chibi Gene Stealers just make me so happy. They're just so cute.
I like Cocaine Doom Rider.
Fight on! Right.
I like him a lot.
I'm going to find an old Iced Earth song for the end of this show called Storm Rider. And me and my brother, whenever Doom Rider came on the table, we'd always sing, "Fight on, ride on, Doom Rider, Doom Rider." And it's. I hope you will enjoy doing that with me later on. Christopher also asks, would a 40k AOS crossover video game be better as a MOBA or a fighting game? Because those types of games are silly enough plot-wise to pull off the easiest. Just look at Marvel vs. Capcom and Heroes of the Storm.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it probably work as a fighting game, actually.
I think so. You know, Skarsnik versus a Primarch would be quite fun.
I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? That's the big problem. It's the differences in power level.
Yeah.
You've got to bear in mind that, like, a Space Marine would be beyond the mightiest of mighty warriors in AOS. Barring the gods or whatnot, they'd probably give them a pretty good going, you know?
Yeah.
So the power level, like if, for example, if you got Abaddon versus Archaon,
yes,
Abaddon would just slaughter him.
Yeah,
he would just rip him to bits. He would just flick him with the Talon of Horus, and he'd explode.
That's the difference between having steel armor and ceramite armor. It's
exactly
that. That's not even getting into the actual power levels themselves. It's the clothes they're wearing are so far removed. I remember years ago, there was a thing in White Dwarf where a group of Terminators transported through one of the teleporters and accidentally ended up on the old world.
Yeah,
and it was rules for these Terminators against entire armies.
Yeah.
And you have 5 Terminators against an entire Imperial army or whatever. Because that's how the power level would work.
That's how the power level works, isn't it? There is an escalation in 40k that is so far and beyond the power level you get in AOS. It would be difficult to manage.
Yeah, it would be, especially nowadays. Back in sort of Rogue Trader, First and Second Ed Warhammer, you can kind of do it because they both had the sort of the same system. Nowadays, the systems are so far removed from each other. Yeah,
it would be difficult.
To give you an idea of how long ago these questions have been sitting here, so what are the odds of Cetra the Imperishable coming back in AOS? Well, he's back and he's a Stormcast.
Yeah, he's back and he's a Stormcast, so yeah. And I'm very pleased about it as well.
My favourite American on the group, Ronald Clark, asks, he doesn't ask, 4 hours ago this was posted, and for 4 hours my mind has been devoid of an outstanding or salient question. Ridiculous. He says, I have 40k lore questions that can't ever be answered. Why didn't the Emperor have a fully operational STC if he came from well before the DAOT? Why doesn't Mechanicus reclaim Mars' subterranean hellscape in force? Why is everyone and no one Alfarius? What in the ever-loving madness is going wrong at Forge World? Stuff like that.
Yep.
So, to answer those questions, why didn't the Emperor have a fully operational STC? He did. He just he lost it down the back of the couch.
Yeah, it must be something like that.
Why?
Because it's a good question.
It really is. Why doesn't the Mechanicus reclaim Mars' subterranean hellscape in force? Because the Void Dragon's down there and they don't want to annoy it.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Why is everyone and no one Alfarius? I'm Alfarius.
Because I'm Alfarius.
I'm Alfarius. Andy is Alfarius.
Yeah, Andy is Alfarius.
Antifarius. What in the ever-loving madness is going wrong at Forge World? It's not being run very well.
It's becoming somewhat redundant.
Yes.
Isn't it, at this point? I mean, the whole onus of Forge World was that it used to do the stuff that you couldn't technically get away with in the main game, It was just the fun, silly, big stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the fun, silly, big stuff is now part of the main miniatures lines and part of the main game. So it doesn't really have a niche. That's the big problem with Forge World. It doesn't have a place.
It's also become very unfocused, unfortunately. The guy, and heaven forbid me, because my memory is not doing well today. The lad who created all of Horus Heresy and stuff like that, he passed away, unfortunately, a couple of years ago.
Right.
And I think with his passing, it's kind of lost a lot of its way.
It's just stopped, It's kind of...
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
Massive shame. Christopher asks, how are you all doing? I'm alright.
Yeah, fine.
Nick Davidson asks, what factions? Okay. What factions would you like to see get some GW lore? Will Squats or the Harud ever turn up in 40k? Are Death Armies ever going to get the Screaming Skull Catapult back?
Maybe. You know what? I think at this point the reason you won't see the Screaming Skull Catapult anymore is because it's a bit too simplistic now.
It is, yeah.
If they did like the equivalent of a Screaming Skull Catapult now, it would be something way bigger and more elaborate, and that wasn't just a catapult. It would be like a Screaming Skull triple-barreled cannon or something, Screaming Skull howitzer or something like that, wouldn't it?
How about the Singing Skull Trebuchet? It's just a little trebuchet that 3 skeletons carry around, and there's a big skull on the end, and it just sits there and sings at you.
I mean, I know it was one of the core units in Undead Army.
Oh yeah, for years, yeah.
It was the big thing, but it's just so simple now. I think if they did do something like it now, it would be some big, elaborate necromantic machine.
I totally agree. It's it kind of has happened, hasn't it? The undead have a couple of things like the I can't think what it's called now.
There's the Mortis engine.
Yeah.
The Coven Throne.
Coven Throne, that's what I was thinking of.
All of that stuff, which is way more elaborate now, it's just way more elaborate.
Oh, saying that, there's nothing stopping you from buying the box of skulls from GW, making your own, and then just running it as, I don't know, a unit of 15 archers.
Yeah, or something like that. Totally.
You can have little arrows coming out of all the skulls, so instead of a catapult, it just fires arrows from its
fires
skulls.
them out of their skulls. That's a good idea. I like that.
That'll be amazing.
That would be good fun. In terms of the like armies or forces or races that could do with a bit of background, well, things like in AOS, we really need some of the realms, the peoples of the realms fleshed out. So Ulgu.
Yeah.
Need to know more about the elves of Ulgu, the shadow elves.
Desperately need to know about them.
And the light elves from Sheesh as well. Teclis and Tyrion, what are they doing?
I think all this stuff's
beyond
incoming.
Fucking everything up.
That is Teclis' entire ambition in life, isn't it?
Of course. Apart from making grand errors on a cosmic scale, what are they doing?
Well, yeah, he's helping.
He's helping, yeah.
I'm helping.
You're really not, Teclis. You're really not. Beyond that, I mean, yeah, it's just stuff like that, really. It's like what we were talking about in the main show, that in 40k, I'd love to know a little bit more about the little Adeptus or Adepti, the smaller ones from within the Imperium. Yeah. So, like, what are the scribes doing? What are the terraformers doing? You know, that kind of thing. What are farmers like in the Imperium?
Yeah, actually,
it's that kind of thing. That's what I'd like to know a bit more about.
I know I've spoke about it many, many times in the past, and I apologise to bring it up again. But Inquisitor, the old trilogy of books, when you had an entire chapter dedicated to a scribe on Earth. Yeah, I love stuff like that. That's the stuff that makes me. Yeah.
What's it like living like your entire life in one of the endless queues on Terra?
Yeah.
You know, handing on the lore to the children that you've had whilst you were queuing. And giving them the purpose or whatever missive that you have to deliver.
I love that stuff. I'll say that I've done a couple of really old 40k short stories for the channel, and one of them has a story of a Grox farmer.
That's it. That's the sort of thing. What's it like living on a hell world? What's it like living on a demon world? Because they do have ecologies, they do have peoples and cities and whatnot. What's it like living on Sicarius?
Eventful.
Yeah, what's it like living on what's the Iron Warriors world? Not Olympia, that's where they came from originally.
Crikey, I can't remember now.
The demon world that Perturabo lives in. That would be amazingly interesting, wouldn't it? We know what it's like living on certain worlds. We know what it's like living on the Plague Planet, for example.
Yeah.
We know what it's like living on Sorciarius. But what's it like living on the others? It just interests me.
It does, yeah. It's always the ground level stuff that I find fascinating. It's the stuff I always want to know about is how do people live their lives?
Yeah. You know what I love? These cultures that spend their entire lives in the ships of the Imperium, like in the bowels of the ships, and don't even know. Like, you know, they're born to particular menial levels of these vast vessels, and that's all they know. That's their entire culture. They don't even necessarily realise they're on a starship.
No, that's because this is just the world to them, isn't it? Yeah,
it's the world. It's the way things are, and occasionally you get like the angels descending from on high, the people from the upper levels to give them revelations and new tenets and whatnot.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's where the narrative fiction, and it's something I hope these things like the novellas finally get into, is what is it like living in the 40k universe when you have no grand scheme, or you're not being dragged along on a grand adventure as such.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you don't have that, when you're not one of the heroes, when you're not one of the great villains, when you are just nobody.
When you're a shit farmer.
Yeah, literally. You know, in some instances, what's it like living like that? That's the stuff that I enjoy. Yeah. It's why Chris Wright's Lords of Silence is so good.
Yes, I agree there. Yeah,
because you really get to realise what it's like.
To meet grinder of an existence.
It's appalling. I mean, it's so. The only way to make it better certainly if you're on like one of the Death Guard ships, is embrace it.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself over to Nurgle and just sort of embrace it. And then I imagine it's quite pleasant. After a while.
I was going to say, there's a little bit of a changeover period you have to get used to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on. James
yes.
Norfolk Sinis, who is actually in the Old World Order podcast. In fact, I don't think I've actually mentioned that. Have I told you who I'm doing the Old World Order with?
No.
It's James and Chris that I did the Creeks with.
Oh, brilliance! Absolute brilliance. So humour abounds.
Oh, you have no idea.
Humour abounds.
When you find out why all the Beastmen have a queue and a ticket, you'll...
Ha! All right.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable. Okay. So James asks, with the return of the Primarchs, is Abaddon the Despoiler not a bit redundant?
Not really, no, because the Primarchs, certainly the Demon Primarchs, have got problems of their own. They are, I mean, it's something that you get more in the novels than you get in the mainstream background. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that's emphasised about the Demon Primarchs is that they are the old order. They're the old dreams of the old traitor legions that largely don't really exist anymore. You know, they become fractured and spread out across time and space. They don't have the cohering factor that Abaddon does. They don't have the vision that Abaddon does. They don't have the ability to unite the forces of the Eye in the way that Abaddon does behind a singular purpose.
Yeah.
So, no, with Abaddon, it's his force of will. It's his ability to actually invest new purpose in the traitor legions, which sets him apart from the Primarchs. The Primarchs are lost to their own really weird business. Also, I mean, another thing you have to bear in mind, they're half demon.
Yes, they are.
Their agendas aren't necessarily focused on the material universe anymore.
No.
Their agendas are those of their gods. They are effectively adjuncts or extensions of their gods' wills to certain degrees.
Well,
so that limits them.
If you think about Abaddon's purpose is to basically reforge everything that was left over after Horus's death, to make it into a viable fighting force, and to not as much carve out their empire, but to survive, to live a life that they were promised.
New.
Yeah,
that's what Abaddon wants.
To break the stagnation.
New. Yeah, he wants a death to the ages of the Primarchs, to the legacies of old. He wants to break the shackles of history and start something new.
I think it's one of the reasons he, when you compare that to somebody like Mortarion, who's the parts of his plans and agenda that you can even begin to comprehend, they're already at a massive level that you can't quite get. And it's a lot of Mortarion's revenge. You know, you belittled me, you left me to fall into the warp. You know, it's one of the reasons he hates Rabuti so much, is what are you doing being praised when I'm cursed and hated? Yeah. Absolutely. And then you get into the larger ideas, and
it's so abstract, isn't it? This is the problem with the Demon Primarchs. They become such abstracts of themselves that they aren't necessarily focused on what's going on in the material universe anymore. Like Magnus is so complex. He's so multifaceted that it's impossible to tell exactly what he's up to or what he's doing at any one time. Even he doesn't know, because the different facets war against one another.
Yeah, that's one of the things
They're
I
in
love.
Contradiction, you know? So you don't really have the coherence from the Demon Primarchs. You've got the power. One-on-one, I mean, Magnus would smash Abaddon to bits.
Yeah.
He would just blast him to tiny bits. But that's not the point. Abaddon has the vision, Abaddon has the scope and the scale, and he has the forces behind him now.
Yeah.
He can actually smash the Imperium. He's got to that point. Whereas, you know, neither Magnus nor Mortarion nor any of the Demon Primarchs can.
No, because
they're the old.
Yeah.
They're too old. They're the ancient. They're the failed fathers.
Yeah. What happens when the old people don't move out of the way to let the new in? Yeah,
they're
and
exactly that.
Abaddon's the pushing. I love Abaddon.
Like me too.
I didn't used to.
I didn't either until I read Aaron Dembski-Bowden's books.
Yes, totally, and that he became something far beyond what I thought he was.
Yep.
Andy Millman. Praise Millman.
Praise Millman.
He says, comment for a future episode. Since the gods are powered by emotion and feelings, I wondered if this counted for the dead as well. So does Arkan the Black contribute towards the powers of chaos? Or because he's dead, does he circumvent it?
He circumvents it.
Yes, he does.
That's the point of necromancy. I mean, you wouldn't know this unless you read quite an old book from Black Library called The Liber Necris, which is written by... one of the von Carsteins, not Vlad. Manfred. It's written by Manfred von Carstein.
Yeah.
And what Manfred goes into is how necromancy works as an example of magic in the universe. And one of the things that necromancy does is that it severs the soul from the warp.
Yeah.
It actually severs the base elements of the soul from the warp. So whatever an undead creature does, even if it's technically half alive like a vampire is, it has no reflection in the warp whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
None. They make the warp inert, or the realm of chaos inert. It's why the chaos powers hate the undead.
Yeah, there we go. That's
They actually sever themselves from chaos. That was Nagash's entire agenda from the very beginning. He wants to remove humanity and all of the universe from chaos.
And I think that's the interesting part of the undead in AOS and the Necrons in 40k, and to another extent, actually, the Eldari. What's happening with the
Eldari,
Incarnate? The idea that in order to starve the chaos powers, you remove your soul from the cycle.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you read the Liber Necris, it goes into like this really extreme detail. It even
getting a reprint, isn't it? Actually,
it is very soon. Yeah,
yes!
And it's really good. It actually dissects like the components of the soul, and then tells you which ones feed the chaos powers and why, and then
cool.
exactly what happens when a soul is severed from the warp or from the realm of chaos by necromancy.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's really interesting. And it also points out exactly why Nagash did it. Why he perverted the purple wind of death to turn it into the black wind of death, of necromancy.
Yeah.
And what that did on a wider scale. It basically upset the universal balance. It upset the very nature of magic and metaphysics in the universe. It's very clever. It's very cool stuff.
That's really cool. We'll just burn through. I think we probably won't have much time to talk about stuff that we've been doing, so we'll just burn through these last questions, and that's your a decent amount of content. Yeah,
I think so.
Dafford Kelly asks, after the events of the War Master, how fucked are Gaunt and the Tanith first?
I haven't read it yet.
I
wouldn't
kind of have an idea what happens, and the answer is very. Also, I'm surprised to see that concept turn up.
Right, okay. Interesting.
It's one of those concepts where it's like, I don't like it when that happens in fiction.
Right, okay. That's fascinating. I'm interested now.
I'm intrigued. It's, it happens quite...
Been on my to-read pile for a while, that one.
I think the best way to describe it is there is an element of time travel takes place.
Okay.
It happens quite early on in the book, so that's not a massive spoiler. But I've always felt that if time travel is introduced down a line, it means the author has run out of ideas.
Yeah, it's a sort of get out of jail free card, yeah.
But Dan Abnett is usually quite good. So
yeah.
I need to know about that.
We'll see how it goes, yeah? See how it's done. It does depend on how it's done, doesn't it?
Very much so. Very much so. Given how Gilliman assigned several entire chapters worth of Primaris Marines to the Death Watch, as well as binding every Ultima Founding chapter to the Tithe, would it be fair to say that the Death Watch should be classed as being at Legion strength?
Kind of, I'd imagine, yeah. I'd imagine they must be approaching it.
Yeah, I think they're at it, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
They must be much more of a force than they used to be. They're more of an army now, aren't they? I mean, there used to be a time when they were specialists. They were more like a Black Ops unit, weren't they? But now they're an actual army.
Yeah. And I think that I'll be interested to see what the Codex Death Watch is going to be, because I think that the Codex Death Watch is going to be encroaching a lot on what the Grey Knights are like and what they do. The covert ops chapter.
Yeah.
Christopher also asks, should the Tau deal with the Primarch power creep by going full Gundam? We already have a rival in red, after all.
That's a good idea, actually. I like the idea of them going full Gundam. I like the idea of them having big mechs to fight in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea.
I like the idea of having a Primarch level mech.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea myself. I'd go for that.
Yeah.
Go down the Evangelion route with it, to be topical.
Oh god, no.
Yeah, there should be a Tau that's called Shinji, with an apostrophe or something. That'd be great.
When that bloody series turned back up and everyone started talking about it again, I honestly had the urge to cover myself in gasoline and light a match.
I had a really weird experience with that. When I first watched it, I watched End of Evangelion first.
Oh god.
And you know what? Without context, as a piece of surreal art, it really works.
Okay, yeah, if you don't have the weight of everything that came before it.
Exactly. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what it all meant. But as a piece of surreal art, it worked. Then you go back and watch the rest of the series, and actually it's sort of like, oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, I hate Neon Genesis. I absolutely despise it. It does my head in. It's pretentious nonsense.
It is very pretentious. I mean, I'm of the ilk where I actually do understand almost all of the symbolism that it's referring to,
Yeah.
And even then it makes no sense.
Do you know why?
It makes more sense with End of Evangelion. But beyond that, yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
He picked the symbolism because it looked cool.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
That's very clear.
Ooh,
that's very clear. I mean, that's massively clear.
I'm not getting into it. I've had enough arguments about Neon Genesis over the years.
For people who say that it's like really clever and profound.
It's the same reason why I hate the Matrix.
You know what they should do? They should remake it and make it really clever, because it could be.
Oh yeah.
It's got the base elements to be really smart and insightful, but it's just not.
It's not at all. It does my head in. Watch Ultimate Teacher, much better. Jake Jackson, then, to finish this off, says, do you think we might see some more of Malkador? Have I pronounced that correctly?
Malkador, yeah.
Yeah, I have. I thought I said it wrong there, the way it sounded wrong in my head. At some point, as some sort of Imperial demon.
It's possible. I mean, it depends on what they do with him ultimately at the end of the Horus Heresy, because it may be that they've changed his background around a little bit. I mean, I know in the classic Fluff he dies. He solders himself to the Golden Throne and basically sustains it insofar as he can until the Emperor takes it and it kills him. But that may not be so anymore. And even if it is so, there are ways of bringing him back. I mean, Malkador's a genuine mystery in the 40k universe. Where the hell does he come from, and who is he? I mean, I've always thought that he may be the Emperor, and that the big golden warrior that you see may be a projection or something.
Yeah, I can see that. I like to think of him as being just like an abstract ghost almost, just floating through history and then just appearing here and there when needed.
I mean, he's so powerful. I mean, he is like third tier. He's just below Magnus the Red in terms of psychic power. It goes basically Malkador, Magnus the Emperor, yeah? So that puts him on a level with some of the Eldari Psykers.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah, I can.
I mean, he's not a natural psyker, is he?
No, he's not.
He's not a natural human psyker. He's something else. He's of another order of magnitude. He is.
Mm-hmm.
And why is he so slavishly devoted to the Emperor?
Fan canon head theory going on here. Ages ago, I thought that maybe he was just an abstract part of the Emperor. He was a part that was allowed to walk free outside.
Yeah, like a facet of him.
Yeah, outside of the body. As I got older, I think it's actually a lot worse than that. I think he's somebody that the Emperor possessed.
Ooh, interesting.
I think there is a certain amount of possession that takes place there, and he is a way for the Emperor to both have conversations with himself, and also a way of his word be getting out there without him actually saying the words.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. There is something very weird about Malkador that's never been fleshed out. But could we see him again? Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Of course we could. There could be clones of him. There could be any number of things. Yeah, he could turn up again, and that would be interesting.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because there aren't many psychers like him in the 40k universe. The only one that's left really is Magnus.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see those two go head to head.
Oh my god, yeah. It really would. It really would. I mean, Magnus is more powerful than he is.
Yeah.
But it would still be a fight.
It would, and I can imagine Malkador has a lot more in the way of dirty tricks.
Yeah, because he does. If you read the Horus Heresy books, he's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Malkador. He's got a lot of manipulations up his sleeve.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a bastard, actually. Not a nice guy.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Not a nice guy at all.
And I think with that, George, that will do for this, because this half-hour Patreon exclusive show ended up being nearly an hour long.
Hey, okay, that's bang for your buck.
Yeah, but we managed to burn through all of the questions that we had. If you have more questions you'd like us to answer, please throw them our way.
Please do.
With that being said, we are going to close down the lock-in. We will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.